Well, I know that we actually have one of your staff members with us in the audience.
Yeah.
Hi, would you like to wave? Who's
Reveal yourself.
Now, I want to kind of verify some of the things that Jia has just said. Can we interview your staff? And just make
Sure.
Okay.
What's your
Go
name?
ahead.
John.
John, okay. How long have you been working?
About 2 years.
Okay, and have you worked in China before?
No.
Okay. And your impressions, everything we're saying is correct? Any objections?
No, I wouldn't say any objections. No, it's fairly close, and I think a number of those scenarios, I was just nodding to myself,
Okay.
thinking that's exactly
Have you
right.
received calls at 10 p.m.?
Sometimes, I sometimes ignore them.
So are they from Jia or they're from
me.
someone else?
From me.
No, from some of my other bosses, of course.
Disclaimer.
What about your experience of saying no? Have you told Jia no?
I think I generally wouldn't be saying no. I would probably diplomatically say I think there might be a better way to do something.
Where did you work before?
New Zealand.
And how was your boss there?
In New Zealand, if I was called at 11 o'clock, something catastrophic had happened. So I was told once by someone that they got called on New Year's Day,
Yeah.
and it actually was a huge issue.
Okay.
But otherwise, you just would never dream of it.
Thank you, John. Okay, well, we're going to take a break, and after the break, we're going to invite two foreigners in town, and they have Chinese bosses and as well as non-Chinese bosses, and to see their perspective.
Why wouldn't the boss just say it was bad?
For my Chinese staff, to say not bad, sometimes it's already very harsh.
Oh, maybe you shouldn't. And I was like, no, I think I should. She's like, don't.
This is the task you're supposed to do, and you don't even need to know what the result was.
Welcome back to Culture Matters. Today we're talking about Chinese boss handling foreign staff, and we have Jie, who just given us the boss perspective. And now we're going to do a little quiz, Allison.
Yeah, oversimplified, questions about what does your Chinese boss really mean when he or she says something. First question, if your boss says your project wasn't bad or not bad, you assume this means, bravo, you've done an excellent job, letter A. B, your project wasn't as good as your boss was hoping, you should try harder next time. Or C, your project is exactly like your boss said, not bad. Where are you from?
I'm actually from South Africa.
South Africa, okay. So which one do you think is
I definitely
correct?
think in this case it would be B. Your project was not as good as your boss expected and you should try harder next time.
B, why do you think that?
Well, I think that if the boss had meant that the project was quite excellent, he or she would have made that very clear.
Okay,
and you would have
giving
been
you-
able to see that as well from the facial expressions
Yeah,
and so
that's
forth.
true, that's true.
But in this case, I think that there might be a hidden message that the boss thinks that you should be trying harder next time and that there might be room for improvement as well.
But why wouldn't the boss just say it was bad?
Well, I think partly also because of the fact that communication in that respect in terms of coaching or mentoring or also feedback can be quite indirect.
Okay.
As opposed to other cultures where it could be more direct.
What would you prefer?
I think it depends a lot on the relationship. I think for myself, I've adjusted quite well, so I can read the
Okay. In
the
between the
high
lines,
context.
right.
Yes, I can read between the lines, but I think in certain respects it would be important to also be able to make the point more directly.
Right.
How long have you worked in China?
Well, I've actually worked in Asia for about 9 years. In
Okay.
China for about 3 years. So
Okay.
I think I've learned a bit and
I hope
adjusted in that time.
Can we ask Jie, what do you think? A traditional or a more typical Chinese boss?
I would say not bad to my Chinese staff, and they will get it. Means
Get what?
what?
Okay.
But
What would you say to the foreign staff?
if I say not bad to my foreign staff, the reaction will be not bad.
So really, it's not bad. But can be better, but better than B.
Better than B.
Better
Or
than
they would, I think my experience had been they would take it as C. My foreign staff would take my answer as, it means your project exactly not bad. But I think even for my Chinese staff, to say not bad, sometimes it's already very harsh. I mean, they would go back and think about, oh my gosh, like what did I do wrong? In terms of giving feedback, that works for both Chinese and foreign staff. I think it's a lot easier to be specific instead of starting a conversation as to not bad, very vague.
Very good.
What if
very
the
good.
project was really excellent? Would you say that
I would,
to both Chinese and
I
foreign
would.
staff? Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
To both, right?
yeah. But
you wouldn't be afraid that if you say that, a Chinese employee will be too full of him or herself.
I wouldn't be afraid, actually, they will see how they get compensated.
All right, boss, bonus time.
Every single,
Translates to how many RMB?
right, every single project, if I'm saying excellent, 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 I'm building an expectation at the, salary time, bonus time. My expat staff, if I just simply say after little project, after email, say excellent job, and it means just that, excellent job, he or she knows I appreciate. But I don't think they accumulate so much and tell me, now how does that translate into results?
I think that's an interesting topic that we can get to later.
Yeah,
Feedback.
exactly.
All right, next
All right,
question.
next-
Your boss tells you you look tired. You assume that she or he really means you're working so hard. Good job. Or B, you look awful today. Can you just dress better tomorrow, get some more rest or something? Do us a favor. C, smile more while you're at your desk. Or D, you deserve some time off. Take the rest of the day. Foreigner? Foreigner, raise your hand. What's your name?
Kevin, I'm from California,
Okay, Kevin from California. What would you answer?
and I would assume he meant B.
B. Why?
If it was A, he wouldn't have to say anything.
Hey, maybe your boss wants to give you a little encouragement.
D, they would never say that.
And how long have you been working in China?
I've been here for a year and a half.
A year and a half, okay. What would a Chinese staff member say?
I will choose C.
C, okay. Why is that?
Yeah, I think all the boss wants our staff to keep very fresh every day and very positive. But when the boss says that you look a little tired, maybe just mentioning that you need to be more positive.
There are no right answers, but our expert in-house.
If I ever say anything like that, I think from me, it's more of just starting a conversation. It wasn't so much, this is all reading way too much into it, right? A traditional Chinese staff would start thinking what I mean.
They'll think too much into it.
Right,
Okay.
but in extreme circumstances, some people who really are very driven at work or whatever might just start to tell me the whole story about how much overtime I did, how late I stayed in the office, why, blah,
Maybe a
blah,
dangerous
blah,
question
blah,
to ask too.
So sometimes, yeah, I think it's, as a boss, you ask questions like that, you never expect people will read into it. A bit simpler with my expat staff. I don't think they read into it so much. They might say, yeah, I really mean they look awful.
All right, I think we have one more. You're having a business dinner with your company. You're not feeling well. You think you've got a cold or flu coming on. But you're offered baijiu. You say A, yes, give me more. I love baijiu. B, 不要, 谢谢. C, I'm allergic. D, thanks. And then you just pretend not to drink the baijiu. What would you do, foreigner?
I would utilize the strategy laid out in D.
D, okay.
With maybe a bit of like a little bit of swapping.
Have you had to have a lot of baijiu in your line of work throughout the years? You've been here how many years?
I've been in China for 8 years
8
already.
years, okay.
Yeah, it's especially dangerous. I used to live up north in Tianjin, and the way they get you there is they say they play on your masculinity. They're like, oh, you are a foreigner. How much can you drink? you know, how many glasses, hypothetically? And you're like, oh, you know, I could probably put away 3-4 glasses, you know, because they're asking you like, essentially, how big of a man are you?
Right.
And you're like 3-4 glasses. They're like, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Put your money where your mouth is, guy. So you know.
You've had positive experiences.
Basically, what I'm saying is, yeah, you do the evasion tactic.
Yeah.
You say, yeah, I'll drink, you know, and then you've got your water.
Yeah, right,
nearby,
water down, right.
Water down, or swap it with some beer.
Right, right.
But I don't understand because the question is, it's given the context that today you're not feeling well. So why can't you just be honest and just say, you know, on a normal day I'm a big man, yes, but just today I'm a little sick, you know? Why can't you do that?
Because you're a diplomat for all Lao Wai, right? They're like, oh, Lao Wai, like how much can a Lao Wai drink? So you've got a lot of pressure on you, right? You don't want to be like,
You need pride.
sorry, in America, like we can't drink anything. Got to man up. And also as a man, once again, I mean, I think as a female you can play that like, oh, I'm sorry, but
Oh, come on. I object to that. Okay, Jia, what's your take on this?
I have to say I object to that too. If this situation is at a client function, probably D, okay, yes. If people offer you, you'll take it and then try to keep it slow. But in fact, my own personal experience, when I'm visiting clients, having meetings up north, it's tough. Like, you couldn't even play the women card. Because it was my mistake. I took a team of, including myself, 4 girls, and 3 of them are the very petite, quiet, good girl, Chinese girl staff.
From the South.
From the South, and the client says, okay, at dinner time now, we're all relaxed, but if you don't drink up, like, we can't really talk into the deeper things or whatever. The women card didn't work. I had to drink for the team.
How many glasses?
And those, the 2-shot glasses,
Yeah.
3.
Oh, nice.
Wasn't standing after that, really.
But I guess that's the thing too. It's like to do business, you have to eat together, you've got to drink together, which more or less might be true other places too, but a little stronger here maybe?
A lot stronger.
Okay. Well, we're going to invite 2 more guests. They're actually foreign employees in China, and they have actually been here for a while working with Chinese bosses and non-Chinese bosses. Welcome Andrew and then Joab. Hi, Andrew. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you.
Hello.
Join us.
After finishing his MBA degree, Joab Mayer came to China from the U.S. in 2007. He has since worked in various strategic and consulting roles for different companies. Andrew Curtin came to China from Australia in 2009. He's worked as a financial analyst both in Melbourne and Shanghai.
How long have you guys been in China?
I've been here for over 5 years.
Over 5, and Andrew?
3.5.
3.5, and you guys been working for Chinese bosses the whole time?
Not the whole time. I've had some Western bosses and some Chinese bosses and been my own boss, so I've had a mix.
And you've also had both Chinese and foreign bosses.
Yep,
here
that's
in
right.
China.
Yep.
Okay, so maybe let's start with you. I know you speak fluent Chinese.
Oh, fluent is a very generous word.
But did you learn at the workplace, or did you first come as a student? And
As a student, I started studying Chinese about 17 years ago, actually.
17?
Yeah.
Wow.
In my undergrad back in the U.S. And so I studied there for a couple of years and then got a scholarship to go to Tianjin at Nankai University.
And did you have to drink a lot of baijiu during the time, or?
Not a lot, but we definitely did have a baijiu experience. Okay. It's part of what you do, especially when you're trying to build up a relationship. You have to find a way to kind of break the ice.
So I guess you learned about the Chinese way first through your Chinese professor, and then once you started working, it's through your Chinese boss, right? Tell me an interesting story about the Chinese boss.
One of my first jobs here, my manager made it very clear that he would direct my schedule. And so I thought that I could leave and maybe have dinner with my family, but I had to stay until my boss left.
What time did your boss leave?
Late.
Like 9, past 9 or 10?
7 or so.
Okay.
But my expectation from working in the U.S. was that, yeah, you might have to go home and maybe work from home, because it's more about getting your work done.
Did you try to communicate to the boss and say, okay, I understood, but I didn't think it's going to be 7 o'clock every day? And then was there adjustment?
The adjustment was really on my part, that I had to, it was pretty clear because it was what everybody else was doing, and I was sticking out. Because
and you're one of the very few foreigners in the company.
I was the only foreigner on my team, yeah.
Andrew, any experience like that? How do you voice your disagreement or a different opinion?
I used to just yell them into a pillow.
At home, I hope.
Yeah.
You don't have a pillow at work.
No. Voicing my disagreement was, I didn't do it as much. Let me give that in another example. Say, for example, my boss gave me something that he wanted, then that was what had to be done.
Right.
There was less flexibility in it. I couldn't come to him and say, well, I know what you're trying to do, this might be a better way. It was certainly with my boss, he was like, this is it. And I would have to stay there till he got what he wanted, and there was less bending of what the requirements were for a given task.
Have you found a good way to kind of negotiate your way through?
You kind of got to pick your battles, right? You got to decide what things do you really want to. But I really agree with Andrew's experience. Lots of times you shouldn't ask why. Your job is to do this. And it's probably an indication of my experience in my particular company.